Lagos, Amaka Owo, NTA News.
And joining me in the studio to x-ray the year under review is the Director of Special Duties and State Operations, National Orientation Agency, David Akoji. Compliments of the season and welcome to Weekend File.
Thank you very much for having me. Good evening, viewers, and compliments of the season.
Okay, a lot happened in Nigeria this year. Some will say the good, the bad, and the ugly. Can you give us an insight of how Nigeria has fared in 2023?
Well, like you said, it has been a mixed bag, and depending on which side of the divide you are looking at it from, you might want to say that the cup is either half empty or half full. But I think what needs to be said is that 2023 was a trying year for us as a country. You know, beginning from the early period of 2023, when CBN introduced the Naira redesign policy, which was poorly implemented and led to a lot of hardship, you know, for Nigerians. Nigerians were unable to access their monies held in the banks, and then some had to purchase their money at very, very high cost from operators of point of sales places across the country, you know, and this left a sour taste in the minds and in the mouths of plenty people. But in line with the promises that the current administration made, as soon as it came into power, it eased the stress and the pressures created by the Naira redesign policy, reassuring citizens, you know, that the old currency would still be tenable and that people had no cause for worry. I'm beginning to look at it in retrospect from the point of view of the economy. You know, you would find that also beyond that, one of the early pronouncements that the president made at the point of being inaugurated was had to do with the removal of subsidy on premium motor spirits. Now, that removal had its gains and pains. You know, the gains was the fact that immediately that pronouncement released Nigeria's economy from the shackles of the subsidy and all the controversies surrounding the subsidy regime and the subsidy policy. And you will find that immediately Nigeria began to save money. You know, huge sums of money in trillions that ordinarily would have been paid out, you know, as subsidy, began to show up as savings. And in that way, the administration was able to support state governments to revive economies that had become moribund of several states across the country, you know, to establish an infrastructure fund, you know, to kickstart infrastructure works in various states, you know, across the country. And you also find that, again, in line with the economy, the president demonstrated understanding, you know, of the need to diversify the economy. And so you found that a minister was appointed and a ministry established for marine and the blue economy. You know, this is an area of our economy that had been neglected, more or less, for many years. And it's an area that holds significant potential. There are many countries that are leveraging on the economic opportunities that is provided by the marine and blue economy. So you can see that immediately the administration understood the fact that we could no longer continue to focus on this mono economy that crude offered, you know. So a lot is going on. There are policy initiatives that are being rolled out in that direction.
All right, can we look at security now in the country in the year under review? What's your assessment and what more needs to be done? Okay, in terms of the security, immediately you find that the administration rejigged our security architecture. You know, it responded to the public outcry and immediately changed the leaders at the helms of the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the police, you know, and all of these that form our security architecture. And the president himself went to the Northeast
to visit with the troops and boost their morale, you know. And since he came, he has been motivating our security forces to up the ante in the fight against insecurity in various locations across the country. You know, we are pained by the mishap in Kaduna, but that also demonstrates to you the fact that there's been increased onslaught, you know, by our security forces on non-state actors that are causing security problems in different parts of the country. Recently, the military reported, as recent as yesterday, that they had eliminated over 6,000 terrorists, you know, and non-state actors that are causing problems across this country. And the president has been urging them to keep this going so that every part of this country can be secured.
All right, just before we go on a quick break, in terms of infrastructure, how well did Nigeria fare as a nation with the reviewed National Integrated Master Plan in view of current realities?
Well, you see, I said earlier that the current administration had set up an infrastructure fund. That's a demonstration, you know, of seriousness in tackling our infrastructure deficit. There's no way you can achieve significant improvements in the economy without tackling infrastructure deficit in terms of roads, in terms of transportation, you know, and all of that, you know. So it is in response to this that the administration has introduced that infrastructure fund and is carrying subnationals along in this direction and ensuring that they also benefit from the funds that are available and will be available to make sure that inter- and intra-city roads especially are addressed. Thus far, the administration has been fixing bad roads across the country. And if you are in Abuja, Abuja speaks for itself. Okay. You know, Abuja has become a beehive of construction. You know, all the works that had earlier gone moribund are awakened. You know, significant ones would be the Apo Bridge, for instance. If you go there now, you see that road actually taking shape. You know.
Okay, David Akoji, let's just take a break now. I know you still have more information for us. So we'll take a break now, and Weekend File will continue shortly. Many thanks for being there. The year 2023 is winding down, but there are renewed expectations from Nigerians that the gains from investment made in various sectors, particularly oil and gas, will help to lubricate the nation's economy and end scarcity of petroleum products in 2024. This hope is based on prospect of oil production by the resuscitated Port Harcourt refinery and the need for government to complement these by investing in other industries in the Niger Delta region, such as solid minerals. Robinson Derataide reports.
This year, Nigerians experience hard times in the oil and gas sector, with the increase in petroleum products over the removal of oil subsidy and subsequent periodic increase in fuel price. In the last 10 years, federal government has reportedly invested over 11 trillion naira to revamp the oil and gas sector, in particular rehabilitation of the 4 refineries in the country. The rehabilitated Old Port Harcourt refinery is expected to produce about 60,000 barrels of oil per day. This should end importation of fuel and reduce prices, thereby boosting the nation's economy.
If the Port Harcourt refinery comes on stream, whatever capacity it is, there will be a significant change in the cost of energy consumption in Nigeria.
For the president of Nigeria, Ahmed Tinubu, if he achieves the production of fuel, diesel, even the aviation fuel here in Nigeria, that will crash this high level of exchange rate of naira to dollar.
Beyond the rehabilitation of the existing refineries, industry players are urging the government to review the modular refinery policy to accommodate more local players in the oil industry, thus discouraging illegal bunkering and reducing environmental pollution.
We must provide a window, declare emergency on modular refinery. That will engage some of these local producers of oil.
They maintain that the solid mineral sector is yet to receive the attention it deserves, despite its abundance in the Niger Delta region. Glass sand, clay, and marble are some mineral deposits in River State waiting to be harnessed.
There are sand in area, sand you can use to produce glasses around Abuja, Onega side, but of what commercial quantity? Nobody knows. There must be study, first of all, before we begin to think of.
The setting up of Board of Trustees in the Petroleum Industry Act for some oil companies is commended, and observers call for effective implementation of the Act in 2024. In Port Harcourt, Robinson Deratede, NTA News.
Okay, I still have in the studio the Director of Special Duties and State Operations, National Orientation Agency, David Akoji. Very quickly now, looking at COP28, Nigeria signed a number of MOUs, including the Presidential Power Initiative with Germany, and lots more. What should Nigerians expect as gains in this direction?
Well, you see, the interactions that the President had with other world leaders at COP28, he was very clear about one thing. If you check the contribution of Nigeria to the challenge of pollution, you would find that it's largely insignificant compared to what's happening in the more industrialized countries around the world. The President made it very clear that other leaders should support Nigeria. And he was very strong in his presentation, drawing the attention of world leaders to the fact that Nigeria stands ready to do what it takes to reduce, this pollution that is of great concern, across the world. Nigerians should expect improvement in terms of our national power mix. And this is an area that we have had challenge. We have always been focused on wind, and other forms of power generation. But then the current MOU that Nigeria is signing with Germany will also diversify our power sector to the extent that we will begin to see significant contributions in terms of solar, and other forms of power generating capabilities. And this, if successfully carried out, as is expected, will also impact positively on the economy, on small businesses, that thrive when power is stable. When they don't have to spend so much money investing on other sources of power.
All right. The Director of Special Duties and State Operations, National Orientation Agency, David Akoji. That's much we'll be able to take. Many thanks for your inputs on Weekend File.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be here.
All right. Another break beckons. Weekend